Hey folks, Motormind here. It's been a while since I've done the video. I've been quite busy with just different things in life, and also just last about month or so I've been kind of sick, so if my voice sounds a bit funny or if I end up going through a coughing fit, I'm just getting over pneumonia, so. Motormind. Let's leave it at that. So, I was looking a while back and I seen a comment come up on one of my videos where I did the track rod slash tie rod end on the Freelander 1, and this fella said something that apparently I had done something wrong. Unfortunately, he was completely incorrect in his assessment, and I thought this might be a good opportunity to do a bit of educational video and kind of clarify a few things. Alright, so I'm going to read this for you. You use a torque wrench to undo wheel nuts. Also, the axle stand is under the body lift point. If you look underneath, it should be on a chassis rail or subframe lift point. If your jack ever fails, doing that will make a mess of, if the car also the jack's hydraulics are holding up the car. Big no-no for trained mechanics. Stop using torque for everything, and you could do with ball joint splitter, tool, or fork. Anyone else reading this, there's a lot of don'ts in this video. Be safe, guys, and don't abuse your lining like this. So let's start off with the first thing. Is he said I used a torque wrench while I was doing everything. That's actually incorrect, and I'll show you what I actually used. This here is the ratchet that I used at the beginning to take off the nut off the off the track rod end and other stuff. As you can see, this is a long, snap-on, flexi head, half-inch ratchet. But as you can see, there is no torque settings. This is not a torque wrench. This is a torque wrench. This was used at the end of the video when I tightened up and snugged up the wheel nuts to the proper torque setting. As you can see, there's torque settings. That's a torque wrench. That's a long arm half-inch ratchet with a flexi head, not a torque wrench. So I don't know where the person got the information, why they thought that. It was very clear that that was not a torque wrench. If they knew anything about it, apparently they think they're some professional. They're not. Now, the other thing they did actually bring up, and I'll set it up now, is they said I jacked the vehicle up in the wrong place, and I put the jack stands in the wrong place. Freelander 1 is a unibody design vehicle. It's actually got the same chassis that was designed with the Honda CR-V. And if you look at the old Honda CR-Vs from the early 90s, late 90s, big 2000s, they're very, very, very similar. In fact, if you saw Freelander 1, Honda CR-V, and look at them side by side, you'll see so many similarities. Even the back door opens the same, the underneath the same. It's actually the same chassis, unibody design. What this person was saying about, and I'll put up some videos, he's talking about is that a body on frame design, like a Discovery, old school Discovery. I'll put up the Discoveries from about the year that the Freelander's from, which was about Discovery 2. And we'll put that up now. I'll show you. So this is the underbody of a Discovery 2. As you can clearly see, the black part there is the ladder frame, and bolted on top of it is the cab or body. It's a different picture, same model of vehicle, but as you can see a bit more where the sill of the body is, and as you can see the chassis. Now here you can see where I put in red X, that's where you don't want to lift it, and on the where they put the green circle and check mark, that's where you would actually want to lift this vehicle, as that's the load bearing area, that's the ladder frame, that's the chassis. The body on top actually isn't load bearing at all, and it's more for like to hold everything aside, but it actually doesn't have any structural integrity to it. That's what the full frame is. It goes from the front to back. That's what this person is trying to refer to. But this is a Discovery 2, and the vehicle that I worked on in mine is a Freelander 1. They are two completely different vehicles. I'll show you what he was on about. But the Freelander 1 was never a cab on chassis with ladder frame design. Never, ever. It was always a unibody design. It was the smallest Freelanders, Land Rovers that made. It's kind of entry level, and like I said, it was actually the same chassis that the Honda CR-V had from the late 90s and early 2000s. So, but I'll show you. There's a bit of education. Let's just do some education here, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Because apparently, this in this comment, as you've seen, I'll I put it up already. Is that they said that I'll crush the sills if I put the weight of my jack stands on the jack points. These are the lift points. It's exact same lift points that we use to jack the vehicle up in the air on a two post or 4-post hoist, or to change your tire. Is where you actually would want to put this, where it's located. And so we'll get into that now. Okay, so setting this back up. I'm actually not doing anything on Land Rover today, but I'm doing it for this video. So as you can see here, that, for those who don't know, is the lift point for your vehicle, right? This is where you put your jack stand if you need to lift it up to change your tire, or also if you want to line up to put up on a hoist, you put it there. There's one back here. See how the lift looks different? This is actually a reinforced section of the subframe. Oh, and sorry, the unibody, the subframe of the unibody, right? Unibody vehicles use the, as it says, you need whole body. The whole body is part of the structural integrity of the vehicle. There's one there, see that? Sometimes vehicles will have covers on them that go over top of this, or they'll have like there's a lip that comes down, and they have a section that comes out, like some of the cisterns and stuff you use. This one, I already have one. This guy here sits over top of that, clips on. This vehicle would have had all 4 of these, but obviously they come off, they go missing. Okay, so I have it set up. Now you can use a subframe to jack the vehicle up, in like the case I've used, as you see here. This is because I want to put these underneath where the jacking point is, and there's nowhere really along here you want to put it in, because you will actually damage the pinch weld and the seam along underneath here. Sorry. So, but you can do this, and I will show you, because in the comment he does say that I will crush the sills if I put the weight on there. So let's show you on my video, nice and slow. Let me just set this up here. Okay. So let's watch. Sticks like that. Okay. Now I have the jack underneath there as a backup, but like you said, you think I'm going to crush everything because all the weight in the video, the weight was never on the jack. I'll show you. There, weight off. That went down a little faster on like, I usually like to put it down slower. But as you can see, the weight is on, wheels off the ground, so the full weight's on the front of the vehicle. Still, it's completely fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. That is designed to hold the weight of the vehicle. It's actually designed to hold a quarter of the weight of the vehicle, because each corner is designed to hold. Right? And don't ignore this. This actually is plastic. Just pulled underneath, right? It's not actually touching at all. I can put one there and one on the other side. Have all 4 wheels off. Vehicle's fine. You can sit there all day. You can sit there for a year on there. Absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. That is a design feature of the vehicle. Now he said I should use a subframe. There's lift points subframe. Technically, no, there is no lift points in the subframe. Right? Let's look at the subframe of this vehicle. What I have here, there's your subframe there. This is actually part of his aluminum housing. This for your lower control arm. I wouldn't suggest lifting on there. I mean, sometimes they're fine, but that is aluminum casing, so but technically there's no lift points. Yeah, you could say, oh, you should use the chassis rail. They're integrated. Could you use these? Sometimes you can. This actually at one point had running boards on it, so probably wouldn't have used that. That would have been in the way. Pardon me. And if you lift here, that's fairly solid. You could do, and it might be alright, but it's not an actual design lift point. That's a design lift point, designed for the vehicle to be lifted. That is not. Now, you know, there are things saying, well, you could, and this and that, but let's use what's designed in the vehicle and how the vehicle has actually been built and designed by the engineers who designed these. Now, he did say something about using the fork to go goes in to take these off, or using the ball joint splitter. I don't have, there's a splitter that will go down, go in here, wrap it around, and you got a bolt that comes up underneath, and will actually push up on this. Those work pretty good when they work, but there's times if you get these like they're corroded in, and you guys go like, they'll actually, you'll see the C thing, it'll actually start to split open, and you slip off. They're pain in the arse. The fork he said to use, I have used those in the past when I was younger, and I found it did more damage than good, especially if you're keeping the tie rod in, or the ball joint, or whatever you're taking off. They tend to, as you go in, they tend to catch and rip the boots. Then you have to replace the whole thing. And let's say I was doing replacing the spring or replacing the shock on this, right? If I use that fork and rip this boot, now I'm replacing this at my cost, because I have now damaged something on the vehicle that was never damaged, just because I do this. So my technique of what I did, I tapped this. All this, it's a little bit of a shock because it's actually it actually tapers smaller and sits in there. It's all this gives a little shock, and this helps kind of shock the bond a bit. And then as it is, if you notice in the video, I tapped on here, and I'll give it. I probably should have tapped not straight on so much, more on the angle, so I'm not sending all the pressure through the track rod, the tie rod. I should have hit there, more on the angle this way, and then shock it, and then I tapped underneath just lightly, because if you hit too hard on here, you'll actually mushroom these out, and then you'll screw the track rod in. So tapped on there, and then tapped it up. I just give it a little light tap to see it, and it'll pop out, as it did in the video. Completely fine. You know, mechanics all around the world use it. I've used it for over 20 years. I've never had a problem. I've never had a problem with damaging a rack. I've never damaged a steering knuckle. I've never had a problem. But I have had a problem with the forks. The forks have torn so many boots. I got them when I was a kid, when I was as an apprentice. Tried to use them because I thought, use a proper tool. I learned very quickly that all I'm doing is causing more damage. As well as I have actually seen them where they have actually caused damage along here. and other parts, especially if this has been in for a long time and it's proper corroded in there. Or you get like, you know, an old pickup truck or something like that, or 4x4 that's been out in the fields and stuff like that. Man, you know what, this forks, just bit them off, not worth it. Right, you're better off to use either what's the technique I used. You can use the splitter things. Sometimes they work fine, sometimes they don't. Just depends on what you have. But they said they're hit and miss. I've used those, and they said they've worked well. Sometimes they've just been nothing but I end up faffing around and spending loads of time to try to get the stupid tool to work, and then it doesn't work. Or even I've even had it where it's pressed that hard, it's actually starting to mushroom this out. So, but in this comment, he said that don't damage your Land Rover, blah blah blah. What I show you will not damage your vehicle if you do it the way I say to do it. Sorry. I use design lift points. I use proper techniques to work on the vehicle. So I'm sorry, sir, whoever put this comment, but they're completely wrong in their assessments. And I'd also just like to point out, for one, this vehicle is actually supposed to have another tray. Mine's missing. Hopefully get a new one. Also, if I jacked up, I use a subframe to hold the weight. If I have to do the clutch on this vehicle, guess what? The subframe's got to come out. So now how I'm going to hold the vehicle up, I got to drop the subframe out, get the gearbox out, do the clutch. That's why you can't. Or if I have to do a certain steering suspension, and it's in subframes in the way, I can't, you can't get it out. That's why you have to use those, and don't use the subframe, because this time the subframe has to be removed. Like same go with the back. If I sorry, if I have to take the rear diff out, stuff like that, the whole back subframe has to come out. So then you have to use lift points. That's why you use lift points in the first place. That's what they're designed for, that we have access to anything you have to do. I do apologize for coughing. I'm still getting over this. So yeah, thanks. So that's another thing why you always use a subframe, and that's because the vehicle isn't designed to use that. I said I have used the jack, but I can take the jack out. easily enough, as I showed, because the weight is being carried by the parts that it's designed to be carried by. And I like this. I thought I'd just show this just to kind of show an educational thing to prove. But the comments like this are obviously people who don't know it, and I like to just kind of show and educate people to show them the proper techniques. So thanks for watching. It was a quick video. Click the like, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to try to do more here and there. I said, unfortunately, you know, things have been busy lately, but we'll try to see what else we can come up with. And see if we can do something other than just Land Rover stuff. But we'll see. Thanks for watching. Yes, thanks for watching my channel. And we will see you again. Keep doing it right, and have a good one.